The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right. Good morning, traders. Day 2 of our 4-day in a row extravaganza. It's like Trader Palooza or something, right? We get a festival of trading opportunities. Amazing. Ha 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 ha. Good morning to you, Raymond. Welcome out, everyone, to the Tradespoon live trading room, stocks and options, opening bell. My name is Scott, and I will be the host. Filling in for Vlad. Is he coming in the afternoon? Like, maybe he's just out partying too hard. He's got to sleep in, but he can still make it to the afternoon session. That's the way I picture it. Big shoes to fill. Well, I hope I can manage. Nope. All right, this is me. It's June. I think I can change my slide. I'll have to go back and look. It was either June or July, 1999. Fresh-faced young Scott, ready to take on the world. Got his start at Fidelity Investments, and the rest is history. Okay. Here's the disclosures. Scott said, he's like, Scott calls her Stella. What did he say? Out of curiosity. I thought he knew for a while now. He's probably going to change it. Every good AI needs a name. You could come up with an acronym if you wanted. Like, you could retrofit the acronym, but Stella. All right, shall we? What's going on? Futures all of a sudden took a little bit of a turn for the better this morning. What was the catalyst? Slightly weaker than expected jobs report, apparently. So this is the first week of June, the first week of any month, as always, means labor data. So yesterday we had job openings. Previously 8.4, expected at 8.4, came in at 8.1. I didn't even read the articles. I would assume somebody out there was like, this is the lowest reading in 4 years. But remember, it's still well ahead of pre-pandemic bullish conditions and strong economic environment. I think it's just adjusting back down. So, it's John. Good morning, John. Good to see you. Everyone's here now. Today we have ADP employment. ADP came back lower than expected. We were looking for 175. It came in at 152. That's not uncommon for ADP. John said useless ADP. Yeah, Bob said useless ADP. Bob said it. John would probably agree. I don't put too much stock into it either, especially when they miss, because I think maybe a couple of months ago ADP missed and then, Okay, but we do have ADP numbers tomorrow. They are expected today. Sorry, they came in lower than expected. Tomorrow we have jobless claims. Jobless claims have not been above 225 for months. I'm not worried until I see them above 250. for enough time to get a 3-week moving average above 250. So it'd have to be like 3-4 consecutive weeks at 255, 260 or higher. And then I'd be like, that doesn't bode well for the next jobs report. Speaking of the next jobs report, Friday, we got 175 last time. We're expecting 190. So Department of Labor is expecting a 15,000 job increase, with unemployment rate expected to stay unchanged at 3.9. Okay. Apparently, we're back to reacting to rate cut bets. U.S. markets get an election preview from India and Mexico after elections result surprises. Interesting. Trump gets record haul from donors. Okay. U.S. private payrolls miss in latest sign of jobs cool down. Has the jobs had a bunch of signs of cool down? Seems to me like it just keeps coming in strong every time. So I don't know. Okay, let's see what Stella thinks. By the way, speaking of Stella, range trend has gone into very bearish, but I always take that with a grain of salt and come down and make sure that what do I see? And really, she's just kind of seeing uncertainty, right? There's uncertainty here. Mostly flat. I would say that looks more neutral. I would say this looks more uncertain, right? That's definitely the word I'm more comfortable with. Okay. Let's go look at the Qs. If you didn't come yesterday and you want to see, one of the things that I do on a weekly basis is I maintain a market posture score. That score is comprised of 6 components. I assess each component individually. Each component is weighted. You can see 2, 3, 1, 1, 1, 2, weighted individually. I score each component individually based on that score. Then I add it all up for my total score. I'm a 5.5. That's a solidly bullish score. It's not strongly bullish. Yeah. I was in the 6s all through, December, January, February into March, right? The trading conditions were great. But it ebbed a little when we had that consolidation. I was concerned that consolidation, let me show you what I mean. This consolidation here certainly felt similar to one we had last year in September and October, at least from a beginning. So, yeah, I was definitely concerned right in this area, but then my posture never dropped below a 2.5. So I was at least slightly bullish the whole time. Signs I'm looking for have reemerged. I'm back to a 5.5. There it is. Things look pretty bullish right now, despite our historical and cyclical tendency to have a sideways market in June and July. It wasn't sideways last year. It was a great market in June and July last year. Don't forget that. So this is what we tend to see. May, June, July tends to go sideways right through here. But we're ahead of the curve. Where are we? June 5th. Towards the end of the month. But that dip tends to be actually followed by a bullish run. So it could be interesting. Also, the presidential race, right? You're exactly right about that. That can change dynamics for sure. Okay. Let's go look at some stocks. Did we look at everything here? No. Fed watch. Let's see what's going on with the Fed. Obviously, we're a week away, 1 week from today. Zero expectations of anything other than leaving it the same 6 weeks later. 4-1. It was, almost 10-1 at one point. But it's easing a little bit. I don't know. You're up in the night if you think July. The September camp is strengthening. But on what? Are you with me on this one? I'm placing myself in the November camp, and I'm only placing myself. I have a new theory. Let's talk through this, okay? Let's talk through this. You can tell me what you think, but my thought is this. They only cut it this year with data evidence that the inflation numbers are in fact declining again. So we've had a lot of our inflation data has stopped going down and even hiccuped. Not a lot, but back up a little bit. They will not move it this year if that doesn't change first. What are your thoughts about that? Meaning that's a positive change. They're changing because intended consequences happened. Inflation went down. Capitulation rate cuts wouldn't come until next year. Next year would be capitulation cuts, meaning we were hoping that the inflation would keep coming down. It unfortunately hasn't, but we can't wait any longer because we're starting to see negative impacts from all the rate hikes that are going to stall the economy, right? They would rather get the rates balanced with inflation stuck around 2.5 to 3, but not stall the economy, then keep holding. That's my theory. So I think, so you're saying, well, when's the next round of inflationary data? Next week. It's always coming, right? It's always coming. So next week, after we have non-farm payrolls on Friday, we have nothing Monday, nothing Tuesday, CPI Wednesday, PPI Thursday. So we have inflationary data, but if the numbers don't come, I don't think that they can do it, right? Here's the NASDAQ, a little bit more bearish, but still mostly neutral. Here's the Russell, IWM. Looks a little bit more like the Dow, but very similar. A lot of correlation there. Let's see what the Dow has. Yeah, Stella's definitely saying, relax. Oh, look at, and again, the Dow, a little bit more short-term strength. But to me, that looks like defensive strength. Okay. Well, the market's open. Let's go take a peek at our opening range. Woo! Look at TSM. Big jump today. TSM giving signals. You're a little late, I would say, on this. We'll come back to this, but let's just take a look at this candle. First big hike in Ashy, but it could really kick things off. That's a nice, strong day today. Interestingly, let's get to the top of the list. No, let's start at SPY. 0.34 up. Okay, so we're in the midst of the next bounce. There's still probably some things giving signals today, but not much longer because this current signal is already about to face, the most recent high right here. If it hits this and stalls out and can't get through it, and then starts to drop back down, giving us kind of that minutes, another signal that has me just a little bit like, let's be careful with this. Okay. Early morning gold star to anyone who tells me in one word the concern I'm going to bring up that correlates to what I just talked about. Just a fun little morning gold star. Who wouldn't want that? Apple just keeps on going. Apple gave a trade back here. And it just keeps on moving a little, moving a little, moving a little. Now it's at new highs, moving a little, moving a little. All right. I mean, it looks like it's pinching overbought. So, this might be where if you're in it, you take half and lock in some gain, tighten up your stop. Tighten up your stop where? Put it right underneath here, and then tomorrow I'll put it right underneath here, and so on. Or if I know I'm getting closer to the end, I'll move down to a 4-hour, and that's going to be 1 versus a 4-hour hike in Nash 93.40. So quite a bit less risk with the 4-hour. So if you're to that point, then yeah, you tighten your stop a little bit more, keep more profits when the trade ultimately falls apart. Okay, let's keep going. And candle. AIG, the financials. They had a false start. Boom, boom. But if they hold the 50, still some opportunities setting up. I'm watching AMD, but I mean, I like TSM and I like MU and I like NVIDIA better. TSM and MU had more signals per se. Okay, what else? Amazon. I'm a little concerned that Amazon is going to hit the underside of that 50-day moving average. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. AXP. So you can see with AXP, same kind of a thing, that it was a bit of a, started to try to move but didn't, but it also is still just holding on. So if AXP holds this, I'm certainly open to it. Let me know your thoughts. Boeing. Did anybody trade Boeing? It moved a little bit. I said I wasn't going to and didn't. Bank of America. So Bank of America was one I was looking for, and then all of a sudden it just surged, but no follow through. So I'm saying to myself, hey, there's another trade here. I'm not abandoning. I'm not abandoning by any stretch. Financials. I think they're gonna persevere. So looking for setups. Same thing here, right? Right at the 50. You might say, Scott, it's not at the 50, it's a little below it. Come on. Be water, my friend. It's a higher low. It was right. It was below the 50 there too for 2 days. And then boom, you caught a nice little trade, pull back, another little trade. So yeah. Caterpillar. Ooh, losing some faith in that one. We'll see what happens here. CL. Yeah, Colgate's nice. It's still going. Still has some movement in it, it seems. What else? CMG Burrito Factory. Vlad is long UFC. I like UFC. That's on the list. Absolutely. Love that one. Love that one. Not surprised at all by that. Oil continuing its drop. Love it. Costco waiting for a drop so I can trade it. CRBG. This is financial. This looks pretty good. Delta had a bit of a false start. We'll see if it gives a second try. Here is the Dow. All the four broad markets, interestingly enough. So yeah. EQH setting up. FCX, if it holds the 50, maybe. GBTC trying to move, but slower. GE, false start. Little bit of a move. Still viable. I'm still thinking about it. Took a loss here. Took a gain here. I'm about break even. The third trade is the tiebreaker. The third trade will decide if I continue to trade GE or not. It should be interesting. That's for sure. GLD. Gold. Setting up. If you like gold, gold's been bullish. Looks to be continuing bullish. Am I the only one who cannot hear you? What an interesting question. I'm assuming everyone's hearing me. Is that right? I just want to get a quick check. Loud and clear. Seeing so. Send privately. Okay. Google. Oh, Google strong. Google's a trade. I like Google. Google. I like Google. Google. Oh, Stella does not like Google. I like Google. So, you know, it is what it is. Oh, there you go. John's in it. Hims waiting for a pullback. IWM. Maybe small caps are. If people are. Yeah, if the general investing public is increasingly bullish on a rate cut, which we saw that they are. Actually, I didn't finish that. Let me go back to that. September, it is increasingly bullish. It's back to 56. It was 42 a week ago, so you can see it surged in that last little bit. November's where I am, but November has to be supported by data. I don't think they're just going to do it in November. If the CPI and PPI data continues to come back stalled out, and maybe they're hopeful, right? I mean, we're 2 years right now. 2 years ago is when they hit the 3/4 point. 2 years ago. So that's had impact. but maybe not all of it. And remember that they cut rates pretty aggressively in June, July, August, September. I mean, it was like 3/4 point a month from June through December. So for a 6-month window. So some of those we're just now starting to feel the long-term effects. So I think the Fed is hopeful that over the next couple of months, the last bit of that round comes in. But I don't think they can cut this year without inflation dropping back at least below 2.5 and showing signs of diminishment. IWM, we looked at KBH. There it is, little false start. Bing, bing. So for me, those false starts will get me out. And then you have to decide, am I going to get back in? So hopefully the false start gets you a small loss that you could retrade if that was your situation. I did not take this one. I've been a little bit reticent to take home builders, but no one likes to see it stall out on a bullish day. Meta. Meta. I did not trade Meta. I was waiting for Meta to break the base. I think I even said I want to see it break this basing pattern. Philip Morris, I think we did look at those, and PM. Is that what it was? MFC, still viable. MO and PM. You did trade Meta, Raymond. Well done. Yeah, I liked Google better. So MMM, 3M's, a little bit of a hiccup, but I still think this is viable here. Morgan Stanley still looks strong. Looks like it wants to bounce off that 50. Nice little catch here. Microsoft looks like it's trying to turn around right there off the 50. Yeah, I mean, things look okay. Micron, sideways. Netflix looks like it's ready to bounce as well. A lot of things here. The great and magnificent beast that is NVIDIA continuing to bust to new highs as it approaches 1,200. And it, all right, looks pretty good. RTX, another one that has a nice trend. It got a little bit of a momentum trade, but is starting to stall out, right? There's the SPY. We are now 17 minutes in. Let's go take a look at the opening range. Immediate pullback, stalling. Okay. For me, if we break back below the opening range, we'll fill this gap and probably end up back maybe near 527.5 to 528. That's my prediction for that. I will be here this afternoon for those of you who will be able to join me. And we can talk about it together. It should be fun. Yeah. John's in. All right. Sounds like a party now. Okay. TSM. You had to have already been in, I think. This thing's up 6% for the day already. It'll be real hard to chase into this. You can see that you had a pullback. You never had a great candle yet. Would have had to have entered on one of these two funky looking candles, but your stochastics gave a great turn. Looks pretty strong. So how's everyone? Is anyone trading some chips right now? What's it looking like? And if you are, which ones? Let me know. Inquiring minds want to know. Yes. Okay. The dollar. Oh, the dollar looks so. What am I looking for out of the dollar? The dollar's been in a pretty tight squeeze. Ooh, freehand, huh? Pretty good lines, I would say. Not bad, not bad. Sideways, what am I looking for? I would like to see this down, breaking down and trending down. If we get this breakout and this thing comes back down this path towards 27, bullish in the summer, right? Absolutely. But if this holds and this turns around and this busts out here, then think September, October last year. And if this thing heads back up towards these, then we get a 10% correction later in the summer. So I think we're in a fairly precarious position relative to what we're seeing from the dollar. This is an interesting one because I don't score the dollar in my scoring process, but I absolutely make sure that I maintain awareness with what's going on with it. And you can see that it's really coming into a shit or get off the pot kind of situation, to pardon my crassness, but I think we're close to seeing something here break, but we just don't know which way yet. Nobody tried for the gold medal. I talked about a concern. I didn't see anyone do it. Did someone do it? I didn't see it. Hmm. 10 years turned up as well, Bob said. Yeah. Okay. So I am bullish, but there's caution. I'm not a 6 or 7. I'm a 5.5. Why can't I get off this? Okay. And there's the answer. That was the answer. VIX. What's my concern? My concern is we had this nice, strong downward movement, and then we broke. Got up here. And why is that problematic? Thank you, Mario, because Mario said that is a higher high from this one. It broke the consolidation and then proceeded to a higher high. And unfortunately, what has a propensity to follow higher highs? Well, higher lows, right? And so now, as this has come back down, you can see it's already stalling out. Now, we're at 13. So if you were like, Scott, 13, is that concerning? Great. But this potential higher low, and I'm going to kind of map this out a little bit. I'm going to give it a little box. Anywhere. I certainly was raised on a generation of morning cartoons and sugared cereals with Tony the Tiger cartoons, Mario. Yeah, Saturday morning to watch cartoons because that was it. That's all you got. A couple of hours on Saturdays, maybe 1 in the afternoon. And then we're back to playing in construction sites. That was my childhood in the 80s. Okay. Yeah, I absolutely think that there's a concern that if this thing turns and this follows suit and turns, then I have a higher low. And a higher low is not what should I do with that? A higher low for me is a go hedge. Whatever's on, go hedge it. Right? I go 5 weeks out. I go 5% out of the money. I get some puts. I get them on the cheap, hopefully, and here we go. So yeah, hedge set up, locked and loaded. It's sitting right here. We definitely have to be careful with what we're seeing there. Let me know if you have any thoughts or questions on that. But This is probably my biggest concern is anytime we see something like this, right? You can see it back here in miniature version. What happened? It broke. Bing. And all of a sudden, we got this higher high. Then what? Then it pulled back and turned. So all of the time that this was happening, that's what we're looking for every time is if this thing is going to do that, I need to get in early or it's not at all. Okay. Okay. Moving on. Tony the Tiger. VRT. Oh, look at that. That looks nice. Bouncing off that 50 like that. I'm going to ask Stella what she thinks. Stella, where are you? It might have been too much of a drop coming in. Sometimes if it comes a little too hard into the drop, okay. All right. So there's a little bit of a concern there. And let's see. Yeah, maybe it's a little early for us still, but it to me looks like it's close. Very close. Wells Fargo. Vlad has one on this. I mean, you could take your pick with financials. They're all very similar, very correlated. I like them. Financials is still, one of my favorites. I'd say financials and technology. Those are my two. Industrial's not far behind. Walmart looks good. I'd like it to pull back. Materials are stifling again. That's good. We like that. Communication services are accelerating again. Hopefully you got a piece of Meta or Google, maybe Netflix. Energy stifling. That's good. Financials, yeah, we'd like to see it pop. It had a false start. We'd like to see it. I would like financials to continue participating. XLI, industrials, same thing. I'd like industrials to pop. Technology looks like it's popping. Looks like it's ready to start moving again and ready to carry the market. So that adds to bullish perspective. XLP popped but stalling. So, okay, we'd like to see the defensiveness here ebb a little, and it started to. You can see it's ebbing already right there. Bouncing, but then ebbing as it doesn't get to a new high. So, okay, maybe we move out of the summer doldrums into more bullishness sooner than expected. XLV coming into resistance at a slightly lower level. Yeah, what's the bottom line? I'm bullish. I have bullish trades. I'm looking for more bullish trades, but not at the rate that I was back in, December, January, February, March. We're not bullish like we were then. For me, it's less. So I'm going to have a little bit less, a little more cautious until I see it work itself out. I'm going to be ready with my hedge because right now the VIX is poised. The VIX is poised. That's it. It's an empirical sign for me. It's not a judgment call. If it's a judgment call for you, then based on how much bullishness you might have, I would say is the main determining factor as to whether or not you intend or ultimately put a hedge on for your own portfolio. Okay, well, let's go back. There it is. That's my story. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Questions, comments, or concerns? It's quiet out there all of a sudden. Everyone was talking and then it just quieted up. Are you guys trading? Is that what's happening? I'm talking and everyone else is trading? What's happening here? That doesn't seem fair. That's exactly what's happening. You're still distracted. You're still like, oh, no, Scott, that's not what I'm doing. You're pulling the trigger right now. Bill admitted it. Thank you, Bill, for at least coming clean. I mean, if you're going to stop paying attention to me, at least give me like a good reason. What do you guys think? Should we hang out later today? Should we have afternoon coffee and see if we're right with our intraday predictions? I think we should. Let's you know what? I'm in. Let's do it. Let's just do it. I'll be back. We'll all be back together for the last hour. I think we'll have signals. Maybe we'll put a trade on together if one of these still looks good. So I'll be back to this afternoon. If you're not there, can't make it, I'll be back again tomorrow morning to fill in for Vlad one more day this week. And then, of course, I have my standard Friday morning wrap it up session. It's good to see everybody. I feel like we're in a pretty good spot right now. If I had to put my over trade meter, what is the likelihood to over trade this market? It's pretty low. I don't think this is right. There are some markets where you're like, oh man, if you take a wrong step, you're over trading. But I still think it's good for us to keep our risk levels under control. That's my final assessment. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. It's good to see everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you later today. See you tomorrow. See you soon. As always, happy